I've seen some wild takes on who wins between Madara versus Adult Sasuke. So here's the first video.
See, this is one of the biggest weaknesses of Naruto. We're introduced to these incredibly cool characters like Haku and Kimimaro and Itachi. And yet, because of illness or circumstance, we never get to see the true potential of these characters.
Now, all good stories have an end. People dying adds to the drama. Look at Game of Thrones. Also, if people had no weaknesses, they would never be defeated. And that's also boring. Much like using cheats in Grand Theft Auto or playing God mode, it's no fun when you're already at the top. There is joy in the journey, the grind, and the struggle. Naruto has struggled his whole life. No different to Luffy or Goku or Ichigo for that matter. That's what makes them the GOATs. And great. They
started from the bottom, now we way up. And I got the baddest bitch, she stays up.
See, well, obviously getting to see an EMS Itachi with a fully formed Susanoo would have been incredible.
Again, not showing Itachi or Jiraiya's full potential is a tragedy, but y'all act as if that's a bad thing. That's called good writing. The proof that it's good writing lies within the Naruto fandom. Itachi was worshipped like Jesus by Naruto fans. Itachi fans were even saying he can put Goku into a genjutsu. Itachi dying and possibly coming back in Boruto has been some of the best drama for Naruto. Seeing a fully fleshed out Susanoo of Itachi would have been cool, but that's why we have all these non-manga canon games that, like Ninja Storm, for example.
There is another significantly more powerful character whose powers we didn't even really get to see fully fleshed out. Of course, the only person that could possibly be talking about is Madara.
Now, Madara wasn't fully fleshed out. Madara has more screen time than Tenten, Rock Lee, Ino, Choji, Kiba, Captain Yamato, Gaara combined. And in your next sentence, you contradict yourself by saying, for hundreds of episodes.
You see, Madara, for hundreds of episodes, was built up as the final baddie of Naruto. A child prodigy hailed to be stronger than any previous ninjas. He was stabbed in the back by a side character who apparently had manipulated him from the shadows for 100 years.
Well, Black Zetsu is the living embodiment of Kaguya's will, so technically the main baddie.
Then something just snapped. Something inside of me. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about being better than Kakarot.
The person all of Shippuden was building up towards killed Madara. Now, any true Naruto fan would have seen the introduction of aliens coming into Naruto from the start of Naruto Part 1. And this is because we know that Kishimoto's initial intention was not shinobi, but rather he modeled Naruto after Dragon Ball. Kishimoto's plan for Naruto from the start was actually quite different from shinobi and ninjas. Naruto was actually just going to be a fox. It wasn't until he was pressured by his team to create a rival character for Naruto, because it was argued that a good story would have a rival like Vegeta. You could say that if it wasn't for Vegeta, we wouldn't have Sasuke. Now, like Dragon Ball, Naruto was supposed to have aliens introduced, fighting across the galaxy in foreign planets. That was the end goal of Shippuden, so that Naruto and Sasuke could become fighters capable of rivaling that of Goku. It makes sense to explain where all of ninjutsu came from in Boruto, that it wasn't just from Earth, but from these aliens. Now, many people argue that Boruto and aliens ruined Shippuden, but I have a different theory. What ruined Boruto and what ruined Naruto Shippuden was not the introduction of Kaguya and aliens, but rather Kishimoto's idea to model Naruto after Dragon Ball. Now, has anyone noticed that the fight scenes in Boruto are, in my opinion, hot garbage compared to Naruto? That's because Kishimoto's initial intention was to create a series like Dragon Ball fights, where it's all fists and explosions and cool martial arts. There was no fancy ninjutsu or complicated scientific explanation. Like, let's analyze the Otsutsuki. They are basically ninjutsu negating aliens. In other words, Kishimoto wanted to make more taijutsu or hand-to-hand fights in Boruto, because now everyone's getting karma seals and they can just negate all ninjutsu, taking the fun out of Naruto, or Boruto for that matter. From an author's perspective, why would he do this? Why would Kishimoto sign up for this? This isn't what the Naruto fans signed up for. Well, again, it's super easy to create fight scenes that are just punching and kicking. It's much more difficult and time-consuming to give a complex scientific explanation as to why opening the inner gates gives a taijutsu user an explosive power increase. Which is why we are seeing aliens and interplanetary travel and cutting moons in half with lasers, toneri, and very flashy moves. This is the Dragon Ball Boruto Ball Z that Kishimoto was aiming for, because it's way easier to produce, it's not as time consuming, and people consume Dragon Ball content even today, despite it being the same recycled plot since its founding. Goku changes hair, gets more powerful, beats the bad guy. So simple, yet it sells. It's business. Was it what Naruto fans asked for? No. In my opinion, what made Naruto good was the complex battle tactic. No other anime breaks down a fight scene as detailed as Naruto. These ninjutsu explained so well and in detail and scientifically as well as religiously. They tie these fights in with all these kind of concepts, including Buddhism and chakra. You just don't find this kind of depth nor sad backstories in Dragon Ball or any other anime, which is what separates this show from every other show on the planet. So Kishimoto, if you're watching this, if you would like to fix Boruto, this is how. Get rid of the stupid ninjutsu negating absorbing aliens and focus more on intense fight scenes that aren't just heavily taijutsu focused. Let's just have more interesting tactical fights.
And just like that, a character built up over hundreds of episodes, hundreds of chapters, snatched from us, just like that. How strong was that Madara?
Now, it's pretty clear how strong Madara was. He was weaker than Hashirama, end of story. Add the power of the Ten Tails, Obito became strong. Madara became strong also. But where did the Ten Tails come from? There had to be a creator. This is why Kaguya was always the original baddie. She was stated to be the progenitor of chakra and even called mother, as if she was an actual deity and everyone else was just picking up the scraps of her chakra, her power, including Madara and Obito. Now, if you came here for the answer to who's stronger, Sasuke or Madara, adult Sasuke that is, let's put it this way. Kaguya was stronger. That's why Zetsu, which is Kaguya's will, was able to kill Madara. Just her will alone was the thing that backstabbed Madara. That same Zetsu, who then fuses with Kaguya, fought Sasuke, and Sasuke held his own. So Team Sasuke already smokes Madara because he fought a stronger and faster opponent, that is Kaguya. The same opponent who defeated Madara. Not to mention, Sasuke literally sealed Kaguya away. So people who genuinely think Madara could beat adult Sasuke are also claiming that Kaguya loses to Madara. Now, before we get into all that, guys, please like and subscribe for me. If you want to see my thoughts on Naruto or any topic for that matter, you subscribing or liking videos helps me see what topics you're interested in and what I should be talking more about.
Incarnation of Indra, Hagoromo's first son, Madara was always destined to be incredibly powerful.
So again, Kaguya is stronger than the Ten Tails Madara, who lost to Naruto and Sasuke. So Sasuke still has more impressive feats than Ten Tails Madara, which is defeating Kaguya, fighting Momoshiki and Ishiki. These feats are better than being a reincarnation of Indra, to which, by the way, Sasuke is also the reincarnation of Indra.
You have the perfect concoction for making arguably the strongest ninja of all time. You see, Madara was on the battlefield from the age of 5 years old.
No, that's cap. Where did you get Madara was 5 years old? Do these two look 5 to you? Madara is 12 here. Now, if you rely on Narutopedia, it says, Madara was born during the Warring States period and was the eldest of Tajima Uchiha's 5 children. However, there is no reference as for where they got the idea that Madara was born during the Warring States period. The reference they link, page 57, only mentions that Tajima is Madara's father. The second databook states that the Warring States period was 80 years ago. Naruto was roughly 15 to 17 in this databook. So if we midball this, we take 16 minus 80 and we get 64 years before Naruto's birth. So 64 B and B. The scene is where we see Madara and Hashirama's friendship begin. And clearly, he's not 5 years old here. Madara is 12. This is further supported by the fact that Tobirama Senju tells Hashirama Senju that Madara Uchiha will never become Hokage. And this is when Madara leaves Konoha. And this is at 50 B&B, in other words, 50 years before Naruto's birth. Why? Well, in Databook 4, it tells us that Madara left Konoha 66 years ago, at which point Naruto is 16 or 17 in this databook, which covers the 4th Shinobi World War chapters around there. 66 minus 16 equals 50 years before Naruto's birth. So now we know that the Warring States period was around 64 B&B when he was a child during the Warring States period. This means that 76 B&B, Madara was most likely born. At 64 B&B, this is when the childhood scene of, skipping rocks and Madara meeting Hashirama took place, meaning Madara was 12 here. And at 50 B&B, Madara leaves Konoha. This is when his brother Izuna dies at 24, meaning Madara at his brother's death is 26. So again, based off what manga evidence or anime evidence or even databook evidence can you prove Madara was 5? Going off these statements, the time is off. Madara, even in the picture, Madara does not look 5 years old, unless Madara was Samoan. Based off the evidence I presented, what you're saying is complete cap. He's not 5.
And as a child, Madara killed multiple adult Senju.
So now, do you know who else was fighting adults at 12 years old? That's right, you guessed it, Sasuke. Not to mention, he was fighting Haku. He even speed blitzed Haku, who was stated to be light speed when traveling between mirrors. So Sasuke, as a child, was fighting Zabuza. An adult, one of the 7 legendary swordsmen. He was fighting the one-tailed Shukaku and Gaara. And remind me, what tailed beast was Madara fighting at 12? Oh yeah, none. But child Sasuke was. Not to mention that these 7 legendary swordsmen were able to defeat Might Dai. That's an 8-gate user. So you've got Zabuza, who's one of the 7 legendary swordsmen, who is also part of a group who was able to defeat an 8 gates user. And that person fought Child Sasuke, and Child Sasuke actually did pretty well. If you're gonna go off like who had the better childhood, I don't know, Sasuke is far more impressive to me.
Senju. And I'll take a minute to remind you what the word Senju means. It means 1,000 tasks.
Now, Senju literally means 1,000 skills, not 1,000 tasks. Or it could also be 1,000 hands, because if you look at the kanji, sen is 1,000, ju being, or te is another way to read it, is literally the word for hand, te. And it's in reference to being the clan with 1,000 skills, which is sen no te o motsui chizoku, Kaguya, Momoshiki, and Ishiki. These people are all stronger foes than Hashirama, so Sasuke absolutely claps Madara.
Power of EMS, it took both Hashirama and Tobirama and the majority of the Uchiha revolting against Madara to end the Warring States period to take him out.
I'm sorry, but where does it say it took both Tobirama and Hashirama and the village to stop Madara each time? When Hashirama killed Madara at the Valley of the End, it was just Hashirama. Like, you don't need all those people.
His feats were still relatively insane. Madara went to the Hidden Stone by himself and defeated both Mu and Onoki in their prime.
Prime Onoki was 12 when he fought Madara with Mu? How does that make sense? That's not his prime. Onoki is 79 years old in Shippuden. Late Shippuden Naruto was 17, meaning 79 minus 17 equals 62 years before Naruto's birth. This means that you're claiming that Onoki, at 12 years of age, was in his prime when he fought Madara, because this fight took place 1 year after Madara obtained EMS, which is when Izuna died. We see Madara use the Susanoo and reveals his EMS in this fight. And we know that Madara left the village at 50 BNB because it was exactly 66 years from early part 2 Shippuden. So at 49 BNB, Madara fights a 12-year-old Onoki.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
So I'm not going to delve further into this Onoki scaling versus Madara because this was the stomp. Like, Madara beating children doesn't make him better.
Now, mind you, the moon was created using Chibuka Tensei from both Hagoromo and Hamura. And Chibuka Tensei is arguably the strongest sealing jutsu in the entirety of Naruto. Madara was able to break the Gedo statue out of that ceiling. He then, with the power of this Rinnegone, much later in his life, and significantly out of his prime, was able to summon the Gedo statue from the moon.
So Hagoromo and Hamura creating the moon, then projecting it from Earth to where the moon is now, is a far more impressive feat. I mean, summoning a statue and breaking it out of the moon is a very small feat compared to the energy required to create the moon with an artificial sun inside. So breaking out of jail compared to making the jail is literally nothing in comparison to the total creation of the moon. Hagoromo and Hamura are still better, and this summoning the statue feat is like bottom tier stuff. Oh, and for the next 10 minutes, Nick basically explains all the forms of Madara just to explain that Jubidara is the strongest. So we're just going to skip all those other ones. And he goes on a long rant about how amazing EMS is and Hashirama cells, but look, 10 Tails healing and regeneration capabilities is better. So let me save you 5 or 10 minutes just to sum it up. 10 Tails, Jubidara is the strongest.
Strong as the 5 Kage individually. When you consider all of this, it's no wonder that the only person Kurama was ever afraid of was Madara.
So what about Ishiki? Was he not scared of Ishiki? Kurama literally died to Ishiki. Like, why didn't Kurama sacrifice his life to save Naruto against Kaguya, Momoshiki, or Madara? Kurama wasn't afraid of Madara. He was afraid to lose Naruto, and therefore afraid of what Ishiki could do to Naruto. So he was afraid of Ishiki, and for the record, Sasuke fought Ishiki too and lived to tell the tale. Another reason adult Sasuke is better than Madara.
Tobirama teleports to a spot where a person is standing and slashes them with his katana. Madara, with the ability of Sage Mode, was able to dodge an irrelevant speed attack with his Flying Thunder God, technique that allows Tobirama to deliver a slash with his katana immediately. Not at the speed of light, not at the speed of sound, not really quickly, immediately.
Irrelevant speed? Bruh. It's not immediate. If it was immediate, he wouldn't have missed. This is easily debunked by the fact that other people, such as Minato, who used the Flying Thunder God technique, are only fast while using their ability to teleport from one spot to another. The Raikage was literally stated to be lightning speed and moves as fast as light when he uses his best attack. Speed blitzes Minato. So does this mean Minato is lightning speed, light speed, or instant? It even says Raikage is slower than Minato because the Raikage himself admitted it. So clearly the Raikage is not instant speed. He literally amputated his arm after getting hit with Amaterasu. The Raikage, when using lightning chakra, boost his speed. Much like Minato and Tobirama when using the Flying Thunder God technique, they are fast, but once they stop using their abilities, they attack with their normal speed after they leave the portal or jutsu. Think of it as Symmetra from Overwatch walking through a teleporter and missing a shot on exit. Does this mean that Reinhardt that she was shooting at is instant speed because he dodged Symmetra's attack after she teleported? No, Reinhardt is still Reinhardt speed, Symmetra is still Symmetra speed. It's only when Symmetra is teleporting is she instant speed. That being said, if one was instant, technically you would be in two places at one time. In Tobirama and Minato's case, they clearly have a time delay between the start of the jutsu and the end. So Tobirama and Minato are instant, so to speak, during the jutsu. Upon leaving, they scale to their regular combat speed, similar to Haku and the mirrors for that matter.
Now, you can obviously tie this to the fact that he used Sage Mode and therefore sensed it and didn't technically dodge it, but the ability to sense an irrelevant speed attack and move out of the way of it is something worth noting.
Not really. If someone pulled a gun on me and I dodged the gun by staying clear of its aim, I am aim dodging. I am not dodging the bullet or outrunning it for that matter. This means I'm not as fast as the bullet. I'm merely outrunning the speed at which the shooter can turn to aim the gun. The same principle is true for people with sensing abilities. They can predict the shot before it happens, so they don't necessarily need to be the same speed as the bullet from a gun to dodge it. They could be snail speed, but simply stay out of the line of sight, yet dodge a bullet. So having senses or future sight or prediction actually downscales speed feats because it disproves that the character could dodge the attack, but for the use of special senses or abilities. So these sense attack dodging feats do not upscale a character's base speed. The whole Sage of 6 Pass sensing doesn't actually upscale Madara's speed.
Specifically in the case of Son Goku, the Four Tails who's said to be the king of sage monkeys, they should have been able to react to Limbo clone.
Not even Naruto, who had Sage of 6 Pass power, was able to see the Limbo clones. He was only able to detect them or sense their presence. Only Sasuke with the Rinnegan was, so no, the Tail Beast stood no chance of detecting them also.
And space-time, which implies that Madara, with one Rinnegan, not the 3 he has at his peak power, has planet-level durability.
That's cool. Kaguya still defeated Madara, which puts Sasuke higher, but whatever. This is not how Madara gets planetary durability. Madara was able to spread roots through the entire ninja world almost instantly. To do so, it would require an enormous amount of energy to accomplish this feat in such a short amount of time. Not to mention, having the power of the 10 Tails does the very same thing that Kaguya used against Hagoromo and Hamura. The same people who did a planetary feat by building the moon and tossing it to where it is located from Earth. This power that they fought against, Madara also had in the form of the 10 Tails. Now, give him the 10 Tails and Madara is very strong. The only reason Kaguya lost, however, is because she didn't want to hurt her children, which is the same reason she lost again to Naruto and Sasuke, because she saw her children in them.
This isn't a problem for Madara though, who rips out Kakashi's eye like a light bulb, throws it in his face, and instantly masters Kamui, better than Obito, who's had it his entire life. But we're never given a reason why Madara doesn't use Susanoo.
So Madara was on the offensive, as we see with Jigen. Susanoo is garbage in a one-on-one. He smokes Sasuke, which effectively proves that Susanoo is a waste of chakra when you can focus all that chakra into a single kick or punch. Might I remind you that Jigen was a tougher opponent than Madara, and even Madara knew that a Susanoo was slow, clunky, and a waste of chakra. Plus, he probably wanted to acknowledge Might Guy's power as a taijutsu user and thought he could probably tank the attack because he's just that crazy. Madara is kinda like Kenpachi in that regard. He finds the joy in battle and doesn't want it to end. Madara was just overconfident. This is how he ends up getting negged by Black Zetsu. He was so confident.
He was screaming and laughing with joy while fighting Might Guy. So it's a possibility he didn't use Susanoo then or ever really to make sure that the odds weren't too stacked against his enemies.
He wanted to test the limits. That's why he tanked Might Guy's attack. He knew very well that without the 10 Tails, he would have been clapped long ago. It wasn't because he was handicapping himself. He was just overconfident.
Here. A man with Hashirama's almost limitless healing factor and planet durability, Hashirama's Senjutsu ability, Hashirama's wood release, 2 Rinnegan, a Rinne Sharingan.
In Boruto, Adult Sasuke has way more experience and power, and is finally adept with those powers, like he can actually use them effectively. To compare children to adults isn't really that good, and you're not really taking prime adult Sasuke either. It just shows how strong they were as children, if anything, and how much more powerful they now have become as an adult.
With the Rinnegan, all of the abilities of the 6 paths and Limbo clones. clones. Limbo clones invisible to anybody without a Rinnegan or Sage mode.
It was Sasuke who protected Team 7 from the infinite Tsukuyomi with the Rinnegan, therefore nullifying any Genjutsu, so Madara couldn't just use the Tsukuyomi.
Hagoromo has infinite power, on top of the fact that he has creation of all things jutsu, which allows him, with chakra, to make anything his imagination wants.
Okay, just because you have the power to create all things doesn't mean you have the chakra necessary to do so. The reason the Sasuke go around absorbing planets is to become more powerful and do more flashy attacks and evolve. Otherwise, if the Sasuke truly had infinite power, why don't they just delete the shinobi world from existence instead of getting clapped by Naruto and Sasuke over and over? Kaguya, Momoshiki, Kinshiki, Urashiki, they're all Sasuke and possess the dojutsu that rival Hagoromo's creation of all things. It's not infinite, otherwise he wouldn't have died, and all those Sasuke would have easily clapped Naruto and Sasuke. And Hagoromo did die, by the way, like from a chakra illness.
In Madara in this form was shown to be stronger than Naruto. Came up against Naruto's shadow clones using his Limbo clone.
Now for the next 3 minutes or so, there's a big rant about clones. Look, the clones, I wouldn't look too deep into scaling from clones because they're proven far too inconsistent. Otherwise, Sakura is more powerful than Naruto because she had more chakra than a Naruto clone. It opens up a whole bunch of problems with this kind of scaling, so I'm just going to ignore this clone argument because that's just whack.
It means that DMS Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto during the war arc were equal, had to place hands on her. It's that they killed her. They didn't kill Madara. Kaguya did. Well, technically Black Zetsu did, able to beat him. See, I have no misconceptions about the fact that Kaguya is arguably more powerful than Madara.
Why make a video claiming Madara beat Sasuke just to say at the end Kaguya is greater than Madara, which means you conceded the point that Sasuke or Team Sasuke is greater than Madara. End of debate. Like, the more you explain Kaguya being stronger than Madara, and you've already acknowledged this only looks better for Sasuke, that he survived against Kaguya and Madara didn't. Adult Sasuke is far more skilled with the Rinnegan. Madara is actually quite inept with it. He doesn't have all that Boruto or Sutsuki knowledge of the Rinnegan that Ishiki and Momoshiki taught Sasuke.
His battle IQ was significantly higher, he's more skilled, he's more experienced, he has better regeneration with Hashirama's healing factor.
Madara is literally a child in comparison to Sasuke. Let me break this down for you. If we're talking prime adult Sasuke, before he lost the Rinnegan, Sasuke wins. And here's why. Sasuke has significantly increased his damage or DC over the years. This is Sasuke cutting Madara's meteor. This is him vaporizing a meteor with a basic Chidori 2 years later. Now, Susanoo blade should be doing way more damage than a Chidori. There's even a statement that the Susanoo blades from Madara can destroy the universe. Now, considering that the Susanoo is more powerful and the requirements to use the Susanoo are higher than Chidori, Sasuke is basically using an inferior jutsu, which is Chidori, on a superior meteor and completely obliterates it. He didn't just cut it like he did with the Susanoo back with the first meteor. He left nothing. It's kind of like Mihawk with his little dagger on a way more extreme scale. He was just trying to flex how strong he is, preserving chakra by using a lesser jutsu to destroy a bigger thing. He only continued to become stronger as an adult and is easily able to trade hands against beings like Fused Momoshiki, Urashiki, and was even able to tag Jigen. So this means Sasuke is not only faster but stronger than Madara. With the Rinnegan, he can see Madara's Limbo clone, so that debunks the whole Limbo clone argument. Sasuke can use Chibaku Tensei to bypass Madara's immortality and seal him away. After all, they used the same jutsu on Kaguya to seal her away, as well as Momoshiki, but obviously it wasn't successful, because the main difference is that Momoshiki could absorb jutsu, effectively nullifying the sealing. Kaguya and Madara could not. It was Sasuke, by the way, who protected Team 7 from the infinite Tsukuyomi with the Rinnegan, therefore nullifying any Genjutsu, so Madara couldn't just use the Tsukuyomi. In conclusion, prime adult Sasuke takes Madara's head and Chidoris it through 15 cubicles, smashing every toilet across 3 dimensions. He will then proceed to seal away Madara's family jewels, and Madara will be left begging for Sasuke to stop. Adult Sasuke dog-walks Madara. Now this is where it gets tricky. If we're talking about the current Rinnegan Sasuke, that's where it becomes problematic for Sasuke. He has no counter to the infinite Tsukuyomi. It was Sasuke's Rinnegan that protected Team 7 from being caught in the Tsukuyomi. Sasuke wouldn't be able to seal Madara or teleport him to another dimension because he's lost it. And he wouldn't be able to perceive the Limbo clone. So Madara has a good chance against Rinnegan Sasuke, and to be quite honest, we don't know to what extent this has impacted Sasuke. Could he still use his past jutsu? If so, he might have a chance with Susanoo. However, it's highly unlikely he'll be able to produce something better than Madara's healing factor. Not to mention, Madara can just immediately put him into the infinite Tsukuyomi as soon as the fight starts, and it's game over. So Rinnegan Sasuke will probably lose to Madara, and Madara will have his way with Sasuke, while he's off in the clouds dreaming about Sakura, only to wake up to reality.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world.
Thank you for watching. Please drop a subscribe if you enjoyed my analysis or take on this video. I will be reacting to other content, so please let me know what you would like to hear from me in the comments. Thank you for watching. Peace.